Last night, in the dry-aged freezer, where they keep the dry-aged steaks at Mahomes and Kelsey's Steakhouse, an elite group of savants, analysts, and Kansas City's own Eric Stonestreet fought and toiled and burned the midnight oil to deliver the best segment in all of sports media. It's an honor and a privilege. It's time for Nick's Tears.
Thank you, as always.
I'm excited.
Introduction, Kevin Wildes, and since you mentioned him, congrats on Eric Stonestreet on his nuptials this
Getting
week.
married, I heard that.
Yeah, got married.
Oh, got married?
Yeah, got married.
Oh.
Yeah. I hope I don't have that wrong. I don't think it was engaged. I think it was married. Either way, congrats to friend of the show, Eric Stonestreet, who was a part of one of the most iconic moments in show history when we were at a Chiefs parade and we were short a mic, and our former producer told Kevin Wildes his earpiece, take off your headset and give it to Stonestreet while just standing there. It's
a moment.
Stonestreet's the best. Congrats to him. We hope to see him Friday when we're in Kansas City. And folks in Kansas City, when you see where the Chiefs are on these tiers, just remember, it's a committee.
Exactly.
It's a committee. You don't have to worry about them being at the bottom, however. Bottom group, 6 teams, bad ball. Like, just the Giants, Russell Wilson again running like it's 2013. He's going to get in the end zone, fumble inside the 5. The Browns missing extra point in a field goal in a game they should have won. Everything the Panthers did. Everything Bill Callahan had anything to do with. The Saints actually wasn't such bad balls as they don't have a ton of talent. And the Dolphins, everything was bad. It's bad ball. Craig, be understanding here. What did we see? So here is the point that I'm making. The Colts were dominant. Is that about the Colts or the Dolphins that bad?
Good question.
The Seahawks defense looked pretty good for long stretches of that game. Is that because Mike McDonald in year 2, that defense is going to cook, or the Niners with the injuries and all, like, what was it? The Cardinals hung on to a win against the Saints team, but are the Saints maybe better than we thought? So the Cardinals went like that. And the Jets defense, which is what they hang their hat on, got absolutely cooked. The offense looked great. What does that mean about the other side? I don't know how to evaluate those games until we know more about the teams that are playing. Listen, fair is fair. And I hate that my guy Caleb is on this list, but QB questions. For the Niners, Brew, it's injury question. The question isn't who Brock Purdy is. Honestly, we all know who Brock Purdy is. But the question is he hurt? Caleb, where are we going from here? Bo Nix, that was really bad. You know how I know it was bad? The Broncos didn't make the Monday herd. That's how I know it was bad. Colin would have loved to talk about that. He couldn't do it. And I like that Drake May's young and big and strong and seems to be an awesome brother and boyfriend and all of that stuff.
Husband. I think
they're married now?
I think he got married too. Because they donated their wedding gifts to charity.
Really?
He's a great guy.
Didn't he just turn 22?
Hey, man.
All right. But regardless, congrats in that regard. I just need him to play a little better. Better and not look to, I think, honest to God, I watched that Patriot game, and like the second snap of the game, Drake May's out there running, and I'm like, I think he's been watching Wildest Graphic, thinking he's Michael Vick or Randall Cunningham. It didn't work out.
The same thing.
You have our attention. Raiders, Steelers, Falcons, Cowboys. Now, I know the last 2 teams on this list lost, but I thought they looked good in the loss. The Falcons had a chance to tie it late. Younghoe Koo missed the kick. The Cowboys have a chance to steal it late. CeeDee Lamb drops the ball. Steelers scored 34. The Raiders go into New England and dominate that game, kind of on both sides of the ball. You have our attention. Playoffs? Sure. On the board, after week 1, even with those teams having losses. Ominous week 1. Lions. Offense doesn't look the same. Offensive line doesn't look the same. Jared Goff doesn't look the same. It's week 1. It's ominous. The Texans. We're going on a lot of weeks in a row where that offense is arduous. Can't move the ball. Like, it looks nothing like it did CJ's rookie year, and we're now into year 3. And the Bengals, I thought that was one of the worst wins by any team in the last couple years in the NFL. They got outplayed on offense, outplayed on defense, and it took the Browns really browsing it up for them to win that game. They look the part. Now, these three teams are kind of cursed franchises. Like the Chargers, there's a whole word for chargering. The Jags, since Mark Brunell left, don't really have a lot of high moments. I know they made the one conference title game with Blake Bortles. And the Vikings are famous for 4 Super Bowl losses and gut-wrenching defeats. You know, whether it be the Gary Anderson missed kick, the Drew Brees game. So here, exactly. But those 3 teams in week 1 looked like pretty good in every facet. Well coached, solid defense, quarterback either played well throughout or played well, when it mattered most for the Vikings. Right now, those teams look the part. Contender-ish. I worry a bit about the Bucs, Washington, its defense. I worry a bit about the Rams' offensive line, but like all 3 coaches, love all 3 quarterbacks, really like all 3 teams' weapons. Those are the recipes to be, contender-ish, at least after week 1. Fair is fair. A bit rattled. The Chiefs and the Ravens.
That's why it's a committee.
Yeah, fair. The Chiefs, everyone's focused on Mahomes. I think that's lunacy. I don't think it's lunacy to be focused on, guys, are we going to have, what's the pass defense going to look like? If we can't get pressure without blitzing and our secondary can't hold up, at least right now, did Herbert jump another level, or is Herbert still just, a really good player, but is everyone going to carve up that defense like that? That's concerning. And for the Ravens, it's obvious. No lead is safe. And so it's got to be at least a little rattled. Gritty winners. Here's the thing. I do not think either one of these teams, as far as on both sides of the ball, played that well in the opening weekend. I thought that those teams, however, despite not playing their best ball, both of them, their quarterback was the best player on their team by a decent margin. For the Bills, by a huge margin. For the Eagles, though, in that game, by a decent margin. And they did enough to find a way to win. That's what championship-level teams do. You give them credit for it. And atop the tiers, for the first time in the history of the tiers.
Wow.
Week 1 champs, the Green Bay Packers.
It's a huge.
It is very, very hard to poke a hole in anything they did in week 1, and the fact that they went out and acquired a superstar and he instantly looked like a superstar. Jordan Love didn't put the ball in jeopardy. You love all of that.
Not in.
Okay,
didn't catch it.
No, that's fair. You know what? That's fair. He did put the ball in jeopardy. Let me.
But the way
you're right. You're right. Jordan Love didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said it. I said it
put
wrong.
it twice in a
Still,
row.
though, week 1 champs, the Green Bay Packers.
I'll give you
Congratulations,
props
Greg. I feel like that was a win for you,
fair.
I
tier.
want to take it as a win, but I never really quite know. Sometimes it's a setup with Nick.
That's true.
I never. I just. Exactly
First of
feels
all,
like it kind of a win.
that hurts. Second of all, it doesn't matter even if it's true, if it's a setup with me or not. The committee's integrity has never been a question.
That's true.
The committee's accuracy.
I was
never
on the
been.
committee and I left the committee.
Well, I mean, that's,
I'll put some scrupulous.
we can check the
unscrupulous
email
character.
chain, Greg, but the I resign email certainly came well after the we won't need your services
No,
next year.
that's
Okay, well,
untrue.
Gianna, we'll post it. Go ahead.
I got the Chargers. They did look the part. I like what you said about that, but they look more than just the part. They need to be moved up. When you talk about contender-ish, you might as well put the Chargers on that row, because when you make the Kansas City Chiefs, or you just handle the Kansas City Chiefs in the manner of which they did, and we talk about quarterback play, and what separates a lot of teams is what we see out of the quarterback. Well, Justin Herbert put the league on notice. He came out and he looked like he was in control. Matter of fact, he did more than look like he was in control. He was in control. He not only played great from start, he finished the game even better. When they needed him to make a play, he wasn't going to allow his team to lose. He wasn't even going to allow or didn't allow for the ball to be put in the possession of Patrick Mahomes. I thought they did a terrific job. And then when you look at why we question this team, man, Slater's out. Protection issues might be a problem. Nope, we got a guy that played tackle in college. Let's move him over to left tackle and Joe Alt, and no issues. No issues. And could they have run the ball a little bit better? Probably so, but Kansas City is a good defensive team. But what we saw out of the Chargers, outside of the Week 1 champs in the Green Bay Packers, the showing that we saw with those LA Chargers, they're deserving to be on the line of contenderish.
So here's what I will say. I do think they had the second most, maybe the most, but at least top 2 most impressive Week 1 performances. You know, I think I agree with you there. It is, even though it is Week 1, or the Week 2 tiers, it's not a total blank slate as far as what the committee kind of thought of you going into the year. Correct. But if we were ranking just best performances of Week 1, they get either the gold or the silver medal. The Packers, going into the year, I took more seriously as a real contender than the Chargers. So they elevated
because of
more.
the history of what we end up seeing.
Well, and also I just think the Packers have a better roster. You know what I mean? I think the Packers have a better overall roster than the Chargers. I think that one of the things that was disappointing for the Chiefs is I don't think the Chargers receivers are that special. I mean, Keenan Allen, anybody could have had him this offseason. Right. Quentin Johnson is still waiting to pop. Obviously, Ladd's good, and those guys were wide open. And so now listen, maybe Keenan Allen hit the Wayback Machine and Johnson took the leap, or maybe that was more an indictment on the Chiefs' secondary performance. But I don't have any real issue with what you said, Greg.
The tiers are good.
Thanks.
I give you props for being fair with the Chiefs. I agree with Greg. I would have chosen the Chargers to move up had he not done it first. But so I'm going to go. The one thing I have an issue with, it's really 2, I guess. Switch the Steelers and the Jags. The Steelers look good. Now, I'm not, I didn't pick them to make the playoffs, but I did think they could win 10 games and maybe just miss it. And they looked very capable of doing that on Sunday against the Jets. Mike Tomlin, we know what the magic is that he works. Now that he's got the best quarterback play since Big Ben was in his prime. I mean, Rodgers was great on Sunday. He doesn't have to be great every weekend, we wouldn't think. All right, so they should move up. And the defense obviously was problematic, but I think all of us think that defense is going to get better. The names on the defense, Cam Hayward obviously wasn't there in the preseason, but the names that are on that defense, Mike Tomlin as a defensive coach, we think they'll get better. The Jags, solid victory as far as the margin, but the Panthers are horrible. And Trevor, 74 passer rating, less than 6 yards per attempt, a pick against that defense. I'm just saying, I want to see more from Trevor Lawrence when you got Brian Thomas Jr., who didn't do much, and you got Travis, Hunter. So I wasn't that impressed with him. It was a solid win. You'll take it, but it wasn't impressive to me. Switch.
Okay, all right. It's a couple things. One is a quick reminder for the audience and for the panel. This is not the mountain where in order to move someone up, you must move someone down.
I know.
It's tiers. So we could just have done the Steelers thing. We didn't need to all of a sudden be like the Jags, who from start to finish dominated the Panthers.
You don't make your own schedule.
It was the Panthers.
I understand, but what are you supposed to do against a bad team? Dominate them.
Was Trevor dominant?
Well, hold on. This is, again, now I will remind the audience again.
Remember the executives came in and Witt was like, don't talk about the
Trevor's actually pretty
Trevor's
popular.
very high on that. And KW, allow me to respond to him, please, quickly. This is not the mountain. This is not purely about how good your quarterback is.
But you can move a team up and down, right?
No. But I'm saying, but your only criticism of the Jags is Trevor wasn't as good as you would like. You know who was? Travis Etienne. He was so good, they were like, take Bigsby. We don't even need you anymore.
Okay,
get out of here.
Travis is going to rush for 1,500 yards? Is that what we're saying?
Actually, to be fair, right now he's on pace to rush for about 2,500 yards, but I don't think that's going to happen. My point is this. When you play a bad team, you're supposed to dominate them. They did dominate them. Trevor made one mistake, and J.C. Horn made an amazing play on that, or else it would have been a Travis Hunter 75-yard touchdown. Go ahead, KW.
I know you don't have to move people up and down. That being said,
jeez, nobody remembers.
Well,
Greg,
I forgot because we're a little rusty. I'm just going to move the Eagles ahead of the Packers, just because I feel like they deserve. And I know it's not the standings.
Do you?
Well, kind of. But they've ripped off. They've lost. They're 17-1 since Week 5 of last year.
Certainly not the 2024 tier.
Well, there's an element of momentum. You haven't lost a game with Jalen Hurts since Tampa Bay, and it's almost a year. It's been a long time since you lost a game. Until someone can beat you, I feel like you deserve a spot up. Here's the other thing. No Jalen Carter. We know the defense probably will take a step back, but the Cowboys, maybe CeeDee would have caught the ball. Maybe there was a little bit of nervousness going across the middle. Allowed under 25 points, the most games since the start of 24. Because we're early, you got to have a longer runway here. The Eagles are still there, right next to the Chargers and the Chiefs. Shout out to the Chiefs. Then the Packers. And this is not super nice, but I feel like someone's got to say it. And it might as well be me, as the guy who coined the phrase, defense wins championships. Josh Allen, what an amazing performance. Can someone raise their hand and say, kind of weird, your defense gave up 40 points when that is your unfortunate exit strategy out of the playoffs? Allowed 40 points, the most games since the start of last year. The Bills have done it 3 times along with the Panthers and the Cowboys that redid their defense. The Bills allowing these, like, getting gashed every once in a while is just a little red flag. I know it's all parades and balloons in Buffalo this weekend.
Can I say 2 things?
The 40-point thing.
One is, I felt like the Eagles were en route to giving up 40 before the lightning delay. The Cowboys scored every single time they wanted, then lightning delay happened and both offenses ground to a halt. So, like, that part to me is a little weird. The other one is, you know whose defense didn't look bad? The Packers. You did a whole anti-Buffalo thing, but your argument is not that Buffalo should move down. Your argument is that the Eagles should move up.
I'm not moving the Packers.
You're putting the Eagles at the top.
Yeah, but the Packers can stay there.
No, then they're no longer at the top.
But they're not even, they're staying there. I'm not moving the Packers. I'm just putting the Eagles above them.
Right, you're moving the Eagles above the Packers, and I'm saying your argument about defense being important, you would certainly agree the Packers' defense against your beloved Detroit Lions, who you loved until halftime of the Super Bowl.
Without Ben Johnson, who knows what they are.
Oh, this guy.
Until the Eagles lose, they should be the best.
Can we all just agree the committee is off to a nearly flawless start?
It's a good start for the committee.
Thank you. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.